Most people can build income. A very few amount of people are able to actually transition that income into freedom. My name is Ibrahim. I am the co-founder of Grow Big Ventures over here. We have a portfolio of about 7 companies generating close to $6 million per year. And what we strive to do is we strive to work with businesses to help them scale and help the co-founder or the founder remove themselves from their own business. And most of these things that I'm sharing are things that I have been through. These are things that I've had to fix personally. So I can say and I can speak to those because a lot of these things that I'm telling you guys about are things that I've already made mistakes in. And in this video, I will show you how I went from chasing cash inside of my business, putting in a lot of hours of work every single day, to now having cash simply just come to me every single month. Let's start off with where we first started. I built my first ever business back in 2021. 8 businesses later, I finally had a successful business. And every single business past that failed. And the business that was successful for me was Omni AI. It was my LinkedIn lead generation / marketing agency. We were able to scale this agency, peak to about $90,000 or so per month. It's still running till this day. This company is now valued at around $1.5 million if we were to sell it today. And this business was able to transform everything we know about marketing because we were able to work with so many people and we were able to recognize patterns. And the first thing that we did when we ran Omni AI was, it was just me and my co-founder. We were doing everything. We were taking the sales calls. I was doing the marketing and the operations. My co-founder was closing the deals. We were doing all the client fulfillment. We were working on the strategy ourselves. We were investing the money ourselves. And so what we essentially did was we created a glorified job for ourselves that we had to come through and do every single day. And the problem with that is that time equated to money. If I put in X amount of hours, I will get an X amount of money back. And that's very similar to you literally just working a job. I mean, what's the difference? And so we started to think. We reached our first $5,000 a month back in 2023. That's the first ever $5,000 a month I've ever made in my life. We thought back and we said, okay, let's continue to work. Let's just keep going. And then we started taking more sales calls and investing more money into marketing. And then we finally reached 10,000. 10,000, we went to about 20,000 or 18,000 or so. From 18,000, we went to 25. From 25, we went to 30 and so on and so forth. And every single month we started generating more and more money. The problem though was that it required all of our time. And yes, we were making good money. Yes, we were finally making above 10K a month each between me and my co-founder. But the problem was more time equated to more money. And the time that we didn't spend time on our business, the numbers started to go down. Yes, we started hiring more people and we said to ourselves, yeah, more people equates naturally to more leverage. And so we can essentially bring on more clients and we can work with our team. But that wasn't the problem. The problem was, how can we not step in, period? We started to think, how do we create a business where it doesn't involve us to come in whatsoever? And the answer was our team and the company culture. If you hire one person, that one person will learn on their own. That one person will advance on their own. If you hire 5 people, as those 5 people advance, they will start to teach each other how your business works and they will start to go through their own experiences. And so we started to hire more people, and as we started to hire more people, our team just got better. We just continued to get better. That's phenomenal. But we still had marketing that we had to do, as in a team that knew how to bring in leads to ourselves. And then we had the sales aspect. And so what did we start to do? We started to develop our sales team. And so the more that we continued to work on our business and the more that we started to step out, we realized every single time we stepped out fully, we needed to somehow step back in at some point. And so we decided to bring in an operator. This is somebody that is within our team that we hired, or that we raised rather, to manage the whole business. And we sat her down and we said, look, your job moving forward is to manage everything. You have to look at this department. You got to look at the marketing department. You got to look at the sales department. And so what that had taught us was that you need somebody at the very top to replace you. Every single thing that gets delegated is great, but if everything gets delegated from you, that means you will stop doing those tasks. What you need to delegate is the person that runs the business. And the easiest and the best way to do that is to simply have a co-founder or somebody that can run that business for you, where you don't need to step in whatsoever and they do everything. And you give them the opportunity to be able to run that business and make money while you keep the rest of the amount of money, essentially. So it had to become a mind shift. Something needed to change, not necessarily in the processes, but more in the mindset and how we thought of doing and running business. And fast forward 2 years later, we learned all about marketing. We brought in a bunch of deals. We've had a bunch of clients that we worked with. We brought on another co-founder, so now we're a team of 3 at Grow Big Ventures. And then we thought to ourselves and said, okay, what can we do that will allow us to keep money forever? We want to generate closer to 10 million, closer to 15, maybe even 20 million per year across our portfolio companies. And the only process that we can possibly do that with is, we thought, if we're doing all the effort to bring in all these clients, then how do we make sure that we retain them forever? If we have to put in the time, if we have to put in the energy, if we have to put in the money to land one client, how do we keep them for a long time? And how do we increase the LTV, the lifetime value of that client? That just started to absolutely obsess. Like we couldn't think about anything else other than that. And we finally came up with Grow Big Ventures, which is our private equity consulting firm. And with Grow Big Ventures, we stopped feeling the illusion of success. We stopped realizing that, yes, we're making money, but the second that we step out, our business is screwed. And what we started to do is we started to leverage other founders and other people's teams in order for them to run their own business, and we attach ourselves to them. So rather than us having to be the founders and bring in an operator and do everything that we did with Omni, we then instead wanted to take equity within businesses and help them scale internally. The problem is equity isn't easy to give up, especially if it's not a company that's large enough doing at least 100K a month that wants to give up that equity. And so there was 2 ways that we could possibly get equity, technically 3 if we wanted to invest into businesses, but at that time that wasn't an option. The 2 ways is either they were a previous client and they saw success with us and we successfully were able to run their business, or 2, we just knew them personally and they trusted us. And so that trust factor and the ability to be able to perform factor was there. And then we had to remove the risk factor by saying, we only keep a percentage from your business if we can scale you past a certain revenue point. And what that comes with is confidence. That's not an offer that anybody else can make. And that gave us a lot of leverage. And we were able to go into businesses and say, look, we've done this. We've helped scale businesses like this. We know you need the help. We're gonna come in and transform your whole entire business for you. Pay us when it's transformed. Massive, massive risk. Like who the hell would do that? And so that's why it started working so well. And with that, the companies that we couldn't take on, that just, it had too many operational issues or we couldn't invest into, essentially what we started to do is we created a coaching offer. And then that coaching offer, we gave them the tools and we still show them how to do everything. But instead of us doing it with them and us jumping into their business and being proactive, we simply just told them, come to us if you have any questions. And that worked amazingly well. When I was running my last business, I didn't think I'll get to this point. And the reason why is because in agencies, especially marketing agencies, the only thing that the client cares about is the result. And even if you are getting results, sometimes clients leave you for any reason. Just because if they're not good at closing or just because they're not good at what they do, you're still gonna churn that client. And so we started to think, how can we sign a person on and keep them forever? Industries like cybersecurity, industries like like an MSP company, a managed service provider company, a staffing business. The reason why they have such little churn, it costs more to do that service in-house. And once you hire a company to do it, it costs more to replace that company. I'll give you another example, a CRM business. The reason why one of the lowest churning companies in the world are CRM businesses is because once you've built your CRM, it'll take a lot of damn effort to build that whole entire system somewhere else, and you gotta pay a team like $10,000, and it's just a lot of work, right? So most people just choose to stick to what they're doing because switching is simply not an option for them. And so we start to think, how can we provide tools and systems and services where people do not leave us? And that's where, again, Grow Big Ventures came out, where it's like, we're gonna give you the systems, we're gonna give you the tools, we're gonna work with you. We only, again, make money once you close deals, but the cool thing is, we also can sometimes profit on the systems and we can profit on the tools. And so that's something that we essentially had to learn throughout the process. Now let's talk about you and let's talk about how you can shift the way that you think from a worker mindset, somebody who works for money, to somebody who invests into money. And I know that sounds like a lot of spiel or whatever you want to call it, but the really cool thing is we needed to make that shift in order to transition into this business. Rather than working for money, how can we make money work for us? Now that means a lot of things in real estate. Obviously buy real estate, whatever, get a loan, all that good stuff, right? Invest into a 401k, invest into this. But the true meaning of what that means inside of a business is essentially you bringing on a team or you injecting yourself in a company to provide one thing, to generate them more money, to help them scale without you having to, one, invest a lot of money or any money at all, and then 2, without you having to run the whole entire business. The most profitable people, the individuals that sometimes make the most amount of money, are not the first guys inside the business, unless you're like Elon Musk or something. They're like the second or third person. That's why there's, COOs, and that's why there's CMOs and other individuals that work with the C-suite that don't necessarily own a percentage of the business. And if the business goes down, who cares? It doesn't matter. You move on to the next one, right? Obviously, that's not the goal here, but regardless, that's kind of the idea behind that. You have to start thinking like an investor, not a worker. All an investment is you putting in time, energy, money, effort into a project and seeing the outcomes come later. And these outcomes will stay forever. And how do you start thinking like an investor? Think about leverage and the power of leverage and what leverage can do. And when I say leverage, I mean, how can you place the right systems and place the right people inside of your business where you don't have to step in anymore whatsoever? And the thing that you have to focus on as an investor is, how can you print money? How can you wake up every single day in the morning with a cash and a Stripe invoice that gets sent to your bank every single day? The real solution is building systems, leveraging systems inside of your business, and then also leveraging people. The real game is wealth that you do not have to chase. The more that you dive deeper into this rabbit hole, the more that you start to realize that 13 hours of you spent working does not equate to X amount of money. 0 hours can sometimes equate to more money than you spending 13 hours to do. And so the real thing is, it's unsustainable. If you have active hours, which is the amount of hours that you work, and you have passive hours, and you've exerted all of your active hours, and you don't have any more active hours, the only other option for you to continue making more money after you've already exerted all the time possible that you can exert is to start doing passive hours. And passive hours come with leverage. Passive hours comes with using a team and leveraging systems and leveraging a team to be able to do the task for you that was taking you time to do, so you can focus on other things. And in fact, you need to hire people that can do the job better than you. I'm not saying you should be a small company and hire somebody for $100,000 a year. What I'm saying is, start slower, start the business. Afterwards, hire the right people who can help you scale your business. My name is Ibrahim and I help companies scale. If you want to do more research on us and see some of our case studies, go to growbigventures.com. If you want to join the free group coaching call that happens twice every single month, then go ahead and click the link in the description to join the free coaching call to sign up. Right now, it's free to join. I can't promise that it'll be free in the next couple of weeks. We do have a lot of demand, but for the first 50 people that join, it's going to be free. Thank you so much, and contact me if you need anything. Good luck, like, share, subscribe. Don't forget to do all that good stuff. Enjoy your time. Thank you.